Hey guys, a few days ago I was cooking breakfast at like 4 in the morning and my gas ran out. So I came outside to swap tanks, change the valve from one tank to another. And I noticed something kind of alarming and I wanted to share it with you and show you how to replace it. So when I came out to swap the valve from one tank to another, which is done this way, by the way. You just move it to the tank you want it to flow from. So if this one was empty, which it was, this one was full, I'd close this valve all the way, pull this over here, and open this one all the way. Alright, but what I noticed was these hoses were cracked badly. Let me give you a close-up of that. So I hope you can see that. These things are, the outer part of the pigtail is in really bad shape. Now the weird thing is, those hoses stay covered up 24/7, 365. Always. There's never a time, other than when I'm swapping tanks out, there's never a time when these hoses actually see sunlight. So it doesn't make any sense to me why these are cracked, other than the fact that they're probably, let's just say, made in a foreign country and the rubber is not the best. So we're going to replace them. Show you how that's done. So if you'll notice, the hose has a couple of wrenching surfaces on it. The smaller one here is actually for the hose itself. The other one is for a bushing, I guess you'd call it, that goes into the regulator or valve, whatever this is here. You want to hold the larger bushing and turn the wrenching surface on the hose itself. It's going to be a reverse flared fitting. Let's do it. First thing I want to do is cut the valves off on both tanks. Go ahead and remove both pigtails from the tanks and then get my wrenches and take these off. Going to hold the bushing while turning the pigtail. Once you break that free, you should be able to just turn this out like this. Notice there's no thread sealant on this pigtail because it has the flared fitting on it. None's required. However, I like thread sealant, so I'm going to use it. May not be required, but it isn't going to hurt anything either. If you don't agree with that, please don't use any. I need a different size wrench for this one. So when tightening this, hold your bushing with the 5/8 wrench. In this case of the new pigtail, it uses a 7/16 inch wrench. And we're going to snug that up. Like so. Reconnect the line to your tank. Repeat for the other side. After you've got everything connected, go ahead and turn both valves on. Take some soapy water. This is probably 3 or 4 ounces of water, a couple of squirts of soap. Rub it all around the fittings you just messed with and see if you can see any air bubbles air bubbles coming up. If you do have air bubbles, then you have a leak. If you don't, well, you don't have a leak. In our case, we don't have a leak. We're going to make one. See if I can find all the right wrenches here in my pocket. We're going to cut all this off. Loosen this a little bit. Turn our gas back on so you can see what soapy water should do if you have a leak. Alright, so it works. If there's any naysayers out there, tighten it. Just knock that bubble off. Good to go. Good to go. Okay, now that I've leak checked both fittings, I want to shut this one off because I'm running off of this tank. Alright, let's go check these hoses out. So we don't have any way of knowing just how long, you know, these hoses would have lasted. No way. I can tell you this, there's a lot of rubber there before it gets to a braid. And the crack is completely through. On a travel trailer, this really wouldn't be that big a deal. You know, you would lose the contents of that tank. It would be outside the living quarters. You know, you'd probably have a stink. You know, these are odorized gases, so you may smell it. It would dissipate. Everything would be outside. More than likely, may not be that big a deal. However, on a motorhome such as that one, the propane tank is actually in the belly of that thing, and if it was leaking in there, then more than likely it would. I don't know, but I'm assuming it could possibly escape into the living quarters. So this RV is 3 years old, and the rubber was degraded to the point where it needed to be replaced probably several months ago, and I just never saw it. I can run through a tank of gas in about 9 months. So more than likely this has happened in the last 9 or 10 months. So I would recommend, no matter if you've got a fifth wheel travel trailer or any kind of a motor home, that you check your propane pigtails and replace them. They're very cheap compared to the damage that 30 pounds of propane could cause. So tip of the day. Till next time, I'm out. My son was over here removing this homemade bumper off of a friend of his truck and installing a new bumper. And I noticed this receiver hitch over here with this light attached to it. And the person that owns the truck had been pulled over for not having a license plate light. So the first thing they did was they went and got one of these lights, and she said that this one quit working, so she went and got another one and just taped it to the top of it. So this shined directly on the license plate.